Hey all, I thought I'd just make an informal video to talk a bit about the Kreisel and how I've got it set up and what I'm doing. I know a lot of you say you don't understand the technical parts, but I don't think the technical parts are essential. First thing I want to talk about is water level and evaporation and keeping salinity correct. You can see here where I've got the water level. The Kreisel is designed to have the water level here. Now, you will notice that as things go along, especially with the water being warmed, it will evaporate. So you need to top off the evaporation with fresh water, not salt water. I know many of you know this, but there's a few of you may. Topping up to this water line will keep the salinity at the same level approximately. Now you will notice that on the Kreisel, I don't know how well you can see it on the video, but see back there you've got a bit of salt creep. You will lose some salinity through salt creep. Now salt creep's a phenomenon where salt literally creeps. So you can see on the front of this tank how I've got little white crystals on here. This is from the salt, like splashing or whatever, getting on the glass and then it evaporates. But when it does evaporate, it can also cause the salt to creep. So the salt will wick up more water through the salt and pull it up, and you'll end up with like big crawly patches. I've been pulling this tank apart and putting it back together and taking photos and making videos, so I don't have a lot of salt creep. But the salt creep I did have is gone because it's been wet. So you can actually scrape that salt back into the water and just let it dissolve. But you will have to do water changes. Even if your parameters are right, you will have to do water changes to replace the salt and the magnesium and the calcium and all that stuff. So you can see, it's a bit hard to see, but you can see on my glass, some of this is salt and like damp water, but some of this is actually algae. So I've got the algae growing in here. This algae will eat the waste from the zoea, so don't think it's a dirty tank or gross. This whole thing could get green and it wouldn't matter, but you will want to scrape a patch off so you can see. But this algae will eat the nitrates, so once the bacteria that's on this biomedia, once that converts the ammonia to nitrite and then to nitrate, the algae and the chaetomorpho algae, they will eat those nitrates. So that will give you more of a period to change water and whatever, so it's like a buffer. So don't think algae in the tank means the tank's dirty or the tank's not right or whatever. Algae is a good thing. It is an extremely good thing in this case. So if you can, and you get algae growing in your tank, leave it. However, if you get brown diatoms, which is like a browny, it almost looks like, if you know what iodine, betadine looks like, it's that sort of colour. You don't really want that, because that can be really messy and it's not the best. So a few other things I need to talk about. See how I've got the flow running like that? That's about how the flow should be, how it's designed to be. But you may notice with the finer pads, so you can see here, this is a finer pad. See, it's the finer pad, it's not the triple mesh, this is a single pad. You will notice that when you use these pads, you may need to slow the flow down a little bit because this has a finer mesh, the water can't travel through as fast, and what can happen is the water can back up. So when it backs up, it'll back up over here and overflow. A bit like an overflowing toilet, it will back up and overflow. So you don't really want that to happen. What else is there I need to talk about? So you can see I've got the adjustment for the flow here. I've got good lighting on here. I have another one of these lights on here, but I can't put it on while I'm filming because it makes too much glare. Now I've got to think. It's quite nerve-wracking doing this. There's going to be soon, I'm going to put a skimmer in the back corner. Now the skimmer will skim off proteins and dissolved stuff. When you use a skimmer, you need to be careful that you're not over skimming, because if you're making the skim mate, which is what it's called, skim mate, if you're making that really rich, you're going to strip all the food out of the water for the zoea. The zoea will need dissolved food because they are filter feeders. So you can feed them live in an chloropsis, which is which is what I plan to do. I've got a culture of it. I've sent some of it to many of you. You've got bits of that culture. So yeah, you want to feed live algae. Another thing you might want to feed is live brine shrimp, which I will just move over here and grab my colony to show you. You can see this is my brine shrimp colony. The water's evaporated a bit, so it will definitely need fresh water. But I'll bring this into frame for you. You can see this is just a like goldfish bowl. That's what I wouldn't keep fish in here, but as you can see, there's a moth in there too. They happen a bit. As you can see, I'll move this light over so you can see. As you can see, I've got brine shrimp in here. They quite happily live in there, but they will also, them being alive and producing waste, they will support the algae. So it's hard to focus here, but you'll see. You can see salt creep on the glass, but you can see there's algae dissolved in the water. That's why the water's got a dissolved tint. And there's also solid